Yeah, everything was connected. I mean, from step one to the very end, were the last things that we learned. It was all very repetitive, which I like, but it's very simplified too. So, and I like how it's geared specifically for law enforcement. You're not trying to learn 1,000 different moves. You're learning very few moves, but they all connect and they all
So a few moves for a lot of different variables, right? You use the same move for a lot of variables.
And you don't have to be phenomenal at everything. You don't have to have, one technique for every single thing that somebody does. You have to understand the principles of the biomechanics, and you have to have something that you're comfortable with that you can make work in a lot of different circumstances. And I think, like, when you were saying, look, when we first saw it, it was like, I don't know about it. And I think that's a problem with a lot of, that falls on us as police trainers, because oftentimes we fail to give context, and it all seems dumb when there's no context. But when you start adding the context to it, and you start realizing how, hey, if someone's doing a million different things, I can still make this same one thing be the answer for it.
But coming to the week-long course, putting everything together and seeing how, like, from start to finish, it all comes together, and you're actually able to take someone down, subdue them, and then get them into cuffs, and using all the steps to do that, I'm a firm believer now. So from start, I was not, and now I am.
So you see it like a system now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a system that can be very easily taught with, there's only 9 steps, and you just have to incorporate those 9 steps to make an effective arrest.
For me, it was a lot with the resistance training, because you can pressure test it. These techniques are relatively safe to build the pressure. As a practitioner, as you get better, you can build up pressure, so it starts getting easier to use it. For me, I started ISR before I was in the police department, and my stress level for like pressure tests that we had that were way higher than any arrest. I haven't obviously been stressed in any arrest or anything as a police officer. It's been a very nice setting for that compared to the pressure tests that we went through. So because the flow of the techniques you can use, that's also a thing. I mean, you go in with a helmet and you were going for the under the pike, but it doesn't reveal itself. You can go for something else. So all this flow, these how you set up the drills, so you're flowing back, and you're doing the same drills with different technique, but it doesn't feel like the same drill. So you're going through the motions again and again. It's going through your muscle memory. You're going through the motions without even thinking about it.
How many arm drags you guys think you did this week?
We literally were talking about that this morning. Like, I wonder how many times we arm dragged each other this week.
And how many times you do body locks? How many times are you grabbing each other from the back, right? So we call that hiding the reps. So it's 9 techniques. It's not just the 9 techniques. So the coaching, what's the coaching? So it's keeping everybody safe, making sure they don't get hurt, adding progressive resistance, so you keep adding more pressure, but it's gradual. And then hiding it so no one's bored. And not only are they not bored, they've done 1,000 of the same things, because it is 9 techniques, but 40 hours of 9 techniques is how did you get them to do that? Because most people go, okay, here's the techniques, and then they just go with it, or they get to 9 techniques, and this is where we started, then they spar all the time. So when you leave, you don't remember. All you know is that you're tough, because you fought. But in this progression, you can slowly, gradually get to a point where there's a lot of resistance on you, you're still using the techniques, and you're recalling them, because you're doing constant teach backs, and you've done the basic 9 over and over a million different ways, right?
Well, and one of the things we were talking about going back is like, okay, how are we going to take this to our department and show them that this actually works? Like, not just like, hey, let's do this little drill, let's do our 4 points. Like, what is the end result? Like, we were talking about the helmet, and like, at first when you do the helmet a few times, like we did into a bag back in our 8-hour training, it's like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see it. But then coming here and actually crashing into someone, pinning into the wall, getting them in an armbar, like, this helmet is great. How are we going to go back and show our guys, you need to do this? Because there's a mindset too. There's a lot of people in law enforcement who are like, I'm fine, I got this. It's like, how do we show them, no, you need this extra skill, you need to do this training, you need to have this in your tool bag, so that when that situation comes, you're not like, okay, this guy's swinging at me, how do I get past this guard? Oh shoot, I'm going to go to the helmet and slam this guy down, and oh, I've got him in an arm bar, and now we're on the ground and I've got him in cuffs. Underhook and pike. Thank you. Sorry. It's been a long week.
Yeah, it's a good point. So there's also the safety that you saw in the training. So we're teaching you how to drill. We're teaching you how to drill safely, because this in the wrong hands, a lot of people get hurt. So you guys as instructors have to go back and you have to layer it the way we layer it. That's why it is in the, he nailed it that's my whole point is, the 9 techniques mean nothing. So most people that are with us for a few years will say, and I'm sure that he'll say it and he knows that it's a teaching methodology. So if I were to say ISR is any one thing, it's a coaching and teaching methodology. That's why I started with become an instructor and then become a coach with it as you go. Instructor means you know the material inside and out, you trust it yourself, and then teach it very clean, like he said, let's just get it drilled so it works to 100% of people that aren't trained, and then we're gonna have to deal with bigger people that are stronger, some people know how to fight, so you coach your guys in a very resistance-oriented, progressive resistance, and get them to a point where they feel comfortable, but you can't go too far, because then you're in service and you're in-house training, you got a bunch of people written you up, and you'll never be able to teach it again. So how far can we take it? And I think in those 40 hours, there's bruises on you, you sweated, but nobody got hurt.
Or maybe I forgot, picking up on all those little details that I had not noticed before. So, I mean, the fact that I'm coming back to it, to me, is refreshing, and I feel like I needed it. And if some of you guys that are not taking part of the program regularly, you should definitely make it a point to come every couple of years, every year or so, just so you can remember all those little details that maybe you forgot.
What you're really doing, if you keep coming back, is getting better at coaching ISR. So it's not just myself. We've had so many guys over the last 23 years that are part of this company, and they each bring something to it. Like I just met him 2 years ago, so he's bringing in a lot already. And it's something they say that you go, oh, that's a great idea, and that's what we share. And we all get better at teaching this exact thing. This guy's done Sambo. He competed in the early Abu Dhabis and he was, leg locks way back when. He was ahead of the curve. Now everybody's doing leg locks as far as jiu-jitsu goes. It doesn't change anything when he comes here, it's ISR. He's not showing me Sambo. He's not telling me how to box. We got guys that are great with guns. They're not showing me how to retain better. We're getting better at retaining through what we already know. Does that make sense? So when you get back, get good at coaching is what I want to do. So I started the whole thing, we'll go full circle to close it up, is be good instructors now, and over the years get better at coaching, because that's what he just finished doing. And I know he's doing it because he's always teaching all the different classes with me. And people like Ozzy that have been doing this in-house and in service for us, you're now helping me teach. And that's what happens, you just get good at teaching it.